Some of my first memories were playing in kindergarten and really trying to think about what I could build.
If I were to build something on the internet, it would be a little drone that would pick you up and fly you to school.
I'd probably build like robotic dragons so you can ride on them, and yeah.
What I wanted to be when I grew up was
a businessman,
a hockey player,
forest ranger,
president,
probably an astronaut.
I definitely had a dog phase where I just wanted to be a dog.
a professional netballer.
A fireman until I had my first lemonade stand, and then I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur.
I wanted to walk downtown with a briefcase, wear a suit to work, and, do important things.
So if someone had told me at 5 years old that I was going to be working in the cloud, I'd be like,
When I was a kid, I remember the dial-up sound. Ding, ding.
Yeah, it was like, ooh, ooh, ooh.
That was the internet to me when I first heard about the internet.
So a guy that I was working with, he was a developer, genius of a guy, came to me and said, hey, start using this search engine, and it was Google, and it was Google Beta. And I thought it was kind of goofy because I didn't know what a Google was, and I didn't understand why it was just white space.
I didn't really understand where the answers were coming from.
One of the girls I was talking to, and I said, oh, well, maybe we go to the library. And she's like, no, you can just find it on Google. And I'm like, what is Google? I had a huge crush on her, and she made me look really dumb.
Back when we started, there were only a few people here in San Francisco who understood what the cloud was.
But I didn't really know what was in the cloud. You would say, oh, it's in the cloud, and you kind of make a gesture and say, somewhere over there.
When we started out in the 2000s, in 2009, a bit of a confession, but I thought it was pronounced SaaS.
So Nick and I went around telling all investors, this SaaS thing is going to change the world. And they're like, it's called SaaS. And I was like, oh, okay.
Now it's everything. I mean, everything is the cloud. And as a matter of fact, I don't even know if we're really even using that term anymore, just because that's the way technology is.
Hopefully one day I can be an astronaut, but I'm really happy where I am. We're at the forefront of a really big change for businesses.
I have no idea what the cloud will look like in 10 years. What will be on the cloud? Will our brains, will our minds be on the cloud at that point?
There's been so much that's changed in such a short period of time. We've drawn the outline and we haven't even started coloring in the frame.
Keep on dreaming and never stop. Keep thinking big, keep thinking weird, and keep thinking different.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Daniel Sachs.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Engage 2017. Can I hear you? Woo! There we go, there we go, there we go. The future isn't what it used to be. And everyone in this room is the reason why. Today, I'm going to take you on a journey, past, present, and future. And like any journey, it all starts when we were kids, just like those kids on the screen. Now, as we move into this future, I want you to think about what you saw the future being when you were a kid. I know when I was a kid, I used to read comic books. I watched The Jetsons. One of my favorite movies was Back to the Future. And those cars powered by AppDirect, the Jaguar Land Rovers, remind me a lot like the DeLorean. They're even smarter, but they may not help you with space travel. So think about that past, and think about how close we are to that being a reality. Robots, flying cars, they were something out of science fiction. But today, they're reality. Everyone in this room has the potential to shape the future, and we can do it together. Now, if you think about every entrepreneur and the way they think about a business, it all starts with a dream of the way the future will be. Our journey started back in 2009. The world was fundamentally a different place. It was the height of the Great Recession, and businesses globally were struggling to compete. It was a pretty bleak time for business, but there was a glimmer of hope. A glimmer of hope in what we later would learn is the cloud. The dream that we had uniquely out of an apartment just down the street was to connect the developers of these great services, developers big and small, to the channels or distribution partners and local trusted providers that offer software to businesses, thereby unlocking tremendous value for businesses all around the world. That dream may have sounded pretty far-fetched when we were back in the room, but wow, have we come a long way as a community. I'm thrilled to have partners here who have joined us since the beginning, and many new partners as well. Just a few years ago, 5 years to be exact, we had our first partner summit. I wouldn't necessarily call it an Engage on the scale of this size, but we had a handful of customers, and at that time we were maybe servicing or reaching a few thousand businesses around the world. But we put our minds together and we thought about the way the future would be. Some of you are in this room, and I want to thank you for your commitment year after year. Now, when we think about that journey just 5 years ago, from going from a really, really small group to now as a community in this room, reaching over 35 million businesses around the world with over 4 million paid users. Those are people that we're impacting every day. That is phenomenally exciting growth. And it couldn't have happened without the power of the ecosystem. The ecosystem in this room is what it's all about. So, going from 5 years ago to today, a lot has changed. When we started the business, we had a vision for the way the world would be. But what we recognized is it would take a long way to get there. It wouldn't happen overnight. So when we launched for the first time, we highlighted our marketplace as a service product, but really with the underpinning and vision that AppDirect would become a true commerce platform to provide end-to-end capabilities to help anyone monetize digital services. And I'm very thrilled today to announce that that platform vision is now ready. We have spent years, thank you, there we go. We've spent the last few years acquiring companies, investing in new products and technologies, partnering with you, and learning how we can build a stronger network. Now, over the last several years, we've had the puzzle pieces, but it took time to bring them together. And like anything that drives transformational change, it can't happen just in one moment. It happens over time. Now, thinking of that evolution over time, it's important to recognize today how far we've come and how big the market opportunity that lies ahead for all of us to capture. Today, what we see is a prosperous network with a community that's reaching more businesses than ever. The cloud market has grown from reaching about 20% of small businesses to now 70% of small businesses around the world. But it's just the beginning, because together we have the potential to increase the share of wallet. We have the potential to increase the average revenue per user by offering them more services that drive more value. And that's what this Engage is about. It's showcasing the technologies that we have and informing you on how to best utilize them to help drive more value to your business customers. We've got feedback from you over the last few years to think about ways that we can inform you in ways that we haven't before. Yesterday, we had hands-on training sessions. Today, we have product releases, and then we follow them up with different tracks so you can learn about what's key for you to achieve transformation within your own business. Now, just as when we were kids, we'd clear our minds and we'd think about the way the future is, I challenge everyone today, for this week, to empty your mind. Go back to when you were a kid. Take a deep breath and think about what the future holds in the next 5 years. Now remember, when you were a kid, you weren't thinking about the day-to-day minutia or things that were holding you back or stress or skepticism. You were just thinking about hope. You were thinking about crazy ideas. And I think if we put our minds to it today, we can think of crazy ideas for the future of business and for the future of your companies. And those crazy ideas in the next 5 years can become reality. When we look forward to the market opportunity, the enterprise IT landscape is slated to exceed $1 trillion for the first time in history. That is opportunity that we can all capture together, because the same platform that we've delivered to help you monetize cloud services is now ready for you to monetize any type of digital service. We have examples today of banks who are using us to distribute their core banking services, whether that be merchant services or loans. We have hardware companies that are using us to deploy software on their devices. We, as always, have SaaS companies and infrastructure companies that are looking to establish new solutions by bundling together. But we couldn't do it without cultivating a prosperous ecosystem of developers and software vendors, big and small, as well as the local trusted providers, the distribution partners in this room. I am thrilled about how far we come, and I know it hasn't come without challenge. But as anyone understands, it takes time to drive a revolution. Looking ahead to the next 5 years, I'm thrilled about what the future holds. Because today, everyone in this room has the potential to accelerate the adoption of digital technologies today for the benefit of the future. And I want to leave you with this. If we can change the way the world works by starting within our own companies, then the future isn't what it used to be. Thank you. Thank you. And with that, I want to introduce Nicholas, my co-founder, to share some of the great product evolution. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy.
Thanks, Dan. And thank you all for coming. I'm so excited to be here today. And I'm so excited to talk to you about three things: how technology is going to reshape the competitive landscape, how you can transform your business to succeed in this economy, and how you can use AppDirect as a platform to achieve transformation. We have a fundamental belief at AppDirect that software is eating the world. It is going to revolutionize how we produce, distribute, and consume goods and services. These advances are going to demolish barriers to starting a business, fostering an artisan-based entrepreneurial revolution. We are going to benefit from better services at a lower cost produced by more business owners. That means we get more out of every dollar spent. Only technology can bring about these types of revolutionary economic outcomes. But these benefits won't come without massive disruption. The digital revolution will leave a wake of brands, a graveyard of brands in its wake. When we think back just 60 years, 90% of those Fortune 500 companies are no longer here today. That should give us pause and make us wonder where the organizations that we care about are going to be in 10 or 20 years. Now, I want to pause here because I'm sure some people are rolling their eyes. I can't blame them because this digital revolution narrative, we've heard it before. We've heard it many times. It's been overplayed. And words like disruption have been overused so much that they've lost their meaning. So I want to be very specific about what I mean when I use the word disruption and what it means to all of you as agents of transformation within your organizations. We define disruption as introducing in a market a step function improvement in the value to price proposition. Again, a step function improvement in value to price to a market. And as such, the digital revolution will have a massively disruptive effect for 3 reasons. First, as production and distribution costs continue to decline, it'll afford small business the economies of scale they need to compete on price. Second, as startup costs also go down, it enables small business to focus on smaller total addressable markets to achieve payback. That means by focusing on niche markets, they can tailor their designs and win on value. So we have lower price and we have higher value. But now there's also an X factor. It's no longer just about value to price, but value to price to an X factor. And that X factor is trusted service assurance. And trusted service assurance is going to matter for 2 reasons. First, as we move from a physical goods economy to a digital economy, you start having software-defined services, and those inherently manufacture data, and data creates trust issues. Second, software-defined services are based on recurring business models. And in recurring relationships, service is paramount. So you have trust and you have service, and small businesses with their local and personal relationships have a comparative advantage when it comes to trusted service assurance. So what happens when legions of new small businesses become very competitive on value, on price, on trusted service assurance? Well, barriers to entry start falling, and rapidly. What happens is that the very economic curves that your businesses are founded on start to shift from under your feet. A long-tail economy has dominated most markets over the last 100 years. That is, most markets have, let's say, revenue on the y-axis, number on the y-axis, number of companies on the x-axis, and then if you sort the companies from largest to smallest, you have a very small cohort or small percentile of companies that dominate the high end of the revenue curve. And then you have a long tail of small companies. But 2 things are going to happen. That curve is going to flatten and move down. As many more businesses start entering the market and segmenting the market with more specific value propositions. The second thing that's going to happen, not shown on the graph, is that the marginal cost curve will also move down because technology is going to democratize economies of scale. So what does this all mean? This means that if you work at a large company, with a monolithic solution offering targeting a homogeneous market, well, that market's going to get segmented by legions of businesses by demographic, by geography, by company size. What happens when you're working at a company that's been geared to compete against a few large rivals in a uniform market? How do you transform to deal with many more upstarts that are fragmenting your market? What happens if you're in banking and all of a sudden there's thousands of fintech companies? What happens if you're a software company, let's say a customer relation management tool, and you're used to competing against a couple rivals, and all of a sudden you have thousands of startups coming to your space offering customer relationship management tools targeted by industry and company size and even by geography. if you're a communication service provider, and historically you had proprietary voice and let's say chat services, what happens when those technologies are so commoditized that they're baked in almost any software solution? So I'll take a pause here, and I think the question is, so what? Why is this relevant to us when we want to distribute digital services? Well, this is very relevant because these dynamics help explain how you horizontally scale. They explain some of the greatest digital success stories. And as such, they should inform your transformation and how you can leverage AppDirect's platform. So let's take one more step back and let's take 3 concrete examples, and then we'll come back to AppDirect and how you can use the technology to achieve these goals. Let's take Facebook, Airbnb, and Uber. What do they all have in common? And some of you may have heard this before, but it's fascinating. None of them hold or own any inventory. Facebook does not own media content. Uber does not own any vehicles. Airbnb does not own any real estate. So what's going on here? What's going on is that there's a simple realization that what works so well in the physical goods economy does not work in the digital economy. What worked in the physical economy is vertical scaling. Let's take, for example, since we spoke about Airbnb, let's take Hilton. They were one of the few companies that dominated the high end of the revenue curve. And how did they get there? They had a cookie cutter offering, and they took that cookie cutter offering and offered it to as many people as possible, scaling it vertically. But that's difficult in the new economy. The new curve limits that type of vertical growth. Now, it's not that binary. This will be a transition, but it's important to realize what's happening. That's why I think it's important to show that binary outcome. What happens when you have thousands of new boutique hotels flooding your market? Because the cost of being a hotelier just doesn't really cost all that much anymore. But the solution is to lower the cost of delivering services within your market, and then take a percent of every sale to scale horizontally. Again, let's take Airbnb as an example, since we're on hoteling. They've lowered the costs, making it possible for anyone to become a hotelier, and then they get a cut of any booking. And they can do this because they're a platform. They're a multi-sided platform. They can enable third parties to produce, distribute, and consume the inventory without them ever having to hold it. So today we're going to talk a lot about platform and how you can leverage AppDirect to create your own platform or enhance your platform. So the question is, how do you get there? And the reality and the point I want you guys to really get today is it doesn't matter which industry you're in, the company's size, or even if you're within an organization, these lessons matter. And we spent a lot of time studying a lot of the successes in the digital economy to improve our platform. And when you're looking at applying this to your own market, it's really about rethinking the way you look at your own market. This is how we usually look at our market. AppDirect is in enterprise software, so this is the way we've traditionally looked at it. When we founded AppDirect, we looked at SaaS statistics. You had revenue on the y-axis. On the x-axis, you have time, and it's segmented by function. For today, I'd like to simplify this. Let's bucket these functions into meta functions. At the end of the day, software only serves one of 3 purposes. It helps you produce, distribute, or consume goods and services. But now, I'd like us to look at this through a new prism, a third dimension. How do these functions render value by vertical? Render value to your vertical. And then we start to understand something, what horizontal scaling looks like. We start to really understand what digital success looks like. These companies have succeeded by aggregating the functions to deliver better value to their sector. Through that aggregation effect, they were able to offer an interoperable set of complementary features, which is more valuable than a standalone feature. Through that aggregation effect, they were able to achieve economies of scale. So you have better value and you have better price. They were also able to achieve a network effect, with every user that joined the platform, it added more value for the next, appreciating the value of what they're offering their market. But also, by attracting those users, they created communities. And those communities bring trusted service assurance. So these factors allow them to achieve far more value at a much lower price with massive trusted service assurance, allowing them to achieve massive horizontal scaling. They were not competing on that x-axis. They were taking a sliver out of every sale in their market. So the question is how do you achieve digital transformation to emulate some of these success factors within your organization? Now, not all of them might apply. The point I'm making is many do, and it's worth taking a really close look. And when a lot of people set out to create a vehicle for digital transformation, they imagine a slick end-user experience, a highly integrated one, a highly performing one. Metaphorically, maybe something that looks like this if you like those types of cars. But it often falls short. Reality falls short of that vision for two reasons. On the one side, it's a failure to build that technology in-house, trying to do it all yourself. On the other side, it's failing because you're trying to integrate third-party technologies, too many technologies that don't really play well together. AppDirect is a platform for digital transformation. We have studied and taken the common denominators that underlie digital transformation success stories. And again, these are just 3 examples. It doesn't matter what market you're in. And I would really encourage you guys to pressure test this. Take companies and stories like Salesforce, and you'll find that there's the exact same factors on how they dealt with upstarts in their space, many more CRMs fragmenting their industry. And what you'll find is that the common denominators, there are a lot of technologies that underlie those successes, and it always goes back to the same ones. Catalog management, identity management, billing management, data management, mobile management. And we want to make those available to you for you to build your digital success story. It's really about digital transformation as a service. You can apply our products and services to solve for 5 of the largest problems in digital transformation. How do you build a digital core? Today, we're going to talk about how you can apply products and services to digitize those experiences, harness that data to create cycles of innovation. How do you create a digital ecosystem on top of that? Today, we're going to talk about how you can use our products and services to find, evaluate, contract, and integrate third-party services. How do you create a digital hub? You can use AppDirect to become the centerpiece across the app, platform, and device experiences of your end users. How do you create a digital channel that is so much more than a website, that leverages thousands of resellers, complex reseller networks, or distributing to third-party brands worldwide to get international footprint? And finally, how do you create a digital supply chain that brings this all together, that brings a lean startup methodology to your organization, that allows you to find product market fit ahead of the curve, allows you to take an idea from inception to digitizing it and putting it in the hands and delighting your customers with that proposition, but quickly and on a yearly, if not monthly basis. So I'm really excited to bring up our product managers who are going to talk about how you can apply our products and services to solving for these digital transformation problems, and also to introduce some really exciting new functionality that we brought to our platform, as well as some totally new products and services that we're very excited to announce. So with that, I'm going to bring up Jasper Crocker, who's going to talk about digital core and digital ecosystem.
Thank you, Nicholas. I'm incredibly excited to share with you some amazing new technology that we've added to the AppDirect platform. But before I do, I want to hone in on what Nicholas means when he talks about defining your digital core. All of us are somewhere along the journey of figuring out how we fit into this new digital economy. Some of us are born in the cloud companies, while others have a really good grasp for what it means to figure out our place in this digital world. But it's important to recognize that your digital core is a moving target. You need to be constantly assessing the competitive landscape and making sure that you're keeping up with the digital trends to make sure you don't get left behind. Looking at Kodak as an example, they were a 100-year company that disappeared within a decade because they failed to recognize that businesses like Facebook were going to take away their business, that they were able to compete on price and value, and that there was no reason to have physical photography anymore. Today we're going to talk about 3 pieces to defining your digital core. Later, Nicholas is going to come up and make some very exciting announcements about how we're allowing you to expand and create your digital core. But right now, I want to show you how you can charge for your services and how you can integrate them to third-party services. First up, looking at AppDirect's pricing, we offer an incredible array of pricing solutions that you can use for your products and third-party products. We offer recurring, flat rate fees, price per unit, setup fees, meter usage, all of these things, creating thousands of variables that you can use to define your pricing exactly how you want to. And with one system defining all of this, your data sets use that same system for everything, so you have a unified set of data you can analyze. We've now brought this technology to add-ons. So you can now make add-ons that either pair with your third-party products, so you could create your own core service as a support service, say, and pair that with a third-party product, or you could pair your third-party products with core services. And we provide all of that billing logic, as well as the dependencies you need to make those services work correctly and have the correct actions when a customer tries to interact with them. But we haven't stopped there. We've created new order fulfillment controls that allow you to schedule when you want subscription changes and cancellations to occur. This allows you to work with your customers and set events to occur when it matters most to them. If they want to wait till the end of a contract, to the end of the year, the end of the billing cycle, whatever day you want. And in the new year, we're going to be bringing you the ability to do this for new subscriptions when you're creating them, as well as extending free trial periods, so you have complete control over when billing and provisioning start for your customers. I'm very excited to talk about our Attribute Exchange. This is an amazing new technology that lets you truly leverage everything AppDirect is doing for you. You can now collect whatever information you want from your customers, from your resellers, from your own employees, at any point throughout our product. So if you want to get information at sign-up, checkout, on the order level, on the company level, you can collect this information and then receive those payloads via API to do whatever you want with it. As an example, let's say you want to collect the reseller ID from your resellers when they're going through checkout. You can get this information, receive that, and then decide what actions you want to take on it. Maybe if certain resellers are doing very well, you want to give them more applications that they can sell. Maybe you want to give them a better wholesale rate that they can use. This allows you to take action on this information. Another example would be that as an end customer, when they're going through the sign-up flow, you could request if they belong to a loyalty program. Maybe you have an existing loyalty program. If you collect that when they sign up, you can now act on it, sending them promotional campaigns, sending them discount codes, taking any action. And all of these actions are powered through our webhooks. We now have a wide array of webhooks that you can take control of. Order, app assignment, product catalog, company, user, invoice, all of these things allow you to collect the information you need and when. And we've made all of this very easy to integrate to with our new documentation center, so you can get the most value out of AppDirect. Now, all of this is great, but it really requires that you have an ecosystem. So I'd like to talk about our ecosystem for a moment and look at how it's important to be bundling your core with your ecosystem products. When we think about the ecosystem, when we look at how the market has changed, in the past, you had something like a taxi service where you came to a new town and your only option besides public transportation was the taxi. Now there are all these competitors in the space, and customers will go for whatever solution is best for them. They will find the solution that competes on price and value and meets their needs. If you don't have solutions for your customers, if you're not offering them a full suite of services, they're going to find them from someone else. And you have an immense opportunity here to take advantage of the ecosystem and provide these solutions to your customers. So looking at the ecosystem, AppDirect helps you attract these developers, onboard these developers, and monetize for these developers. And today, I'm very excited to be announcing that AppDirect has built the AppDirect SDK. This is a tool that our developers can use to integrate to our system. This can increase the integration time by up to 25%. This is one of the biggest improvements we've made to the AppDirect distribution APIs since their inception. We've also made strides to make the experience that customers have with their products more seamless. With Company Sync, we can now keep the data in sync between the developer system and our system. That way, if a user already had an account, we can see that. Or if they try and sign up a second time, they get that, oh, your account already exists message. We've all been there. This is already enabled for Microsoft and available for any developer that wants to take use of it. And lastly, I'm very proud of this feature. We spent a lot of time building this, but this allows you to customize the price and content of your products, not only the products you integrate yourself to your own marketplace, but the products that you bring from our core catalog. So if you want to customize the marketing material so that your marketing stands out for your market, for your geography, you can do so. And you can specify the pricing for every reseller, for wholesale rates, for the marketplace list price, what people see when they go buy it themselves, and on a specific deal basis. And all of this happens on top of what you already set with your developers. So you agree to terms and rev shares, and those stay static. And then these changes are completely on your ownership. So you have the right to make the changes you need to for your marketplace to fit your customers. Next, I'm very excited to welcome Colin to the stage, and he's going to be sharing with you how customers can access all of these services across all their devices. Colin?
Thank you, Jasper. With the explosion of apps that came along in the last decade was the mass adoption of smart devices. And it wasn't just mobile. It's the pervasive computing and networking that has made everything from our cars to our buildings to our clothing smarter. But with every new interface came along a new expectation. Customers now expect their digital solution provider to be available everywhere, to provide them a way to move across their devices that's both seamless and familiar. And that expectation really elevates across functionality as well. Customers don't simply just want a single service like broadband anymore. They want a complete home solution, one that comes with the connected hardware and software that makes their home safer, more comfortable, and easier to manage. And to meet this demand, digital solution providers need to be a hub that offers them convenient access and control. AppDirect is now able to provide you the tools to manage the platforms, devices, and applications no matter where your customers are. This in turn offers you the ability to provide the cleanest total package of internet-connected hardware and software. And that puts your brand at the center of your digital customer lifestyle. The first step to becoming a digital hub is really understanding the different platforms that your customers use. Most of us think about platforms as operating systems like iOS or Windows, but platforms can be a little bit more complex. First, we have a hardware layer that just really defines the physical and electrical product that we hold and touch. And built on that foundation are the compatible software and services. And then, most often forgotten, is a layer of business rules that are usually implicit, but can be systemically built in. And all these layers are necessary for a company like, say, Tesla, to monetize software-defined battery upgrades or become a hero by giving away free mileage when a natural disaster strikes. With AppDirect, you can manage multiple platforms with our system-agnostic data modeling that stack on top of the price, user, and product flexibility that already exist in App Market. This allows you to orchestrate the comprehensive elements of your ecosystem. And all the devices that your customers use must be able to connect with that hub. And so within platforms, you're able to easily enroll and synchronize those devices so that you can provide them a solution that your digital offering addresses. And we understand that not all software is run from the cloud. And that's why we've built in a complete version control system within AppDirect so that you can monetize and manage all the downloadable and embeddable software that runs locally on those devices or on edge systems. And for those devices that have screens, it is imperative to provide a native experience so that the performance and integrated functionality that consumers expect is there. And so that's why we're pleased for popular operating systems like Android to offer a completely native experience that allows your customers to browse, buy, download, and update directly on their devices. Of course, many people still turn to their browsers. And so whether they're using a tablet or a smartphone, we want to give them an experience that elegantly adapts to their screen size. And so that's why we continue to invest in responsive themes that gives you the best of AppDirect no matter what device you're on. So we've got platform management, device management, app management, native app stores, responsive design. Your digital hub powered by AppDirect gives you the most expansive cloud commerce experience anywhere. And now to talk about the exciting changes we're making to help our customers operate successful digital channels, I'd like to invite Nick Gilbert.
Thanks, Colin. So we heard about digitizing your core, how to build an ecosystem of products around it, and how to connect them all through a hub. Next, I want to talk to you about how to get those products into your customers' hands. To do that, you're going to need to enable your channels. And if you're like many people, when I say the words channels, you're going to think to yourself, well, that's not as important as connecting it to my real experience that I sell directly to my customers. And I'm here to sort of change your mind about that. Because enabling channels is about meeting your customer where they want to buy, not where you want to sell to them. If we look at an example of the way that the restaurant industry has changed over the last 10 to 15 years, it used to be that a restaurant owner could own that experience of the customer from end to end, from when the customer was found in the restaurant all the way through to when they checked out and paid for their food and walked out the door. A restaurant owner could own that entire experience. But now, if you live in a big city anywhere in the world, that entire experience has been segmented. Right? Horizontal aggregators and niche vertical providers are breaking up the restaurant industry in the way that you engage with restaurants. You can order the food online, you can pick it up in store, you can have somebody deliver it to your door. The restaurant owner no longer controls and owns that experience from end to end. When you change that to start talking about more complicated things like cloud services, it becomes an order of magnitude more complex and difficult to manage. Services mean ongoing relationships that change over time. And so how do you hand that experience over to someone else when the prices can change, the configurations can change, the customer can add more, they can cancel? How do you manage that? How do you hand that experience over, right? It requires a breadth and depth of functionality that really wasn't possible. So, as part of AppDirect's journey and mission, we built this third-party integration framework that allowed you to offer those products through your own marketplace. You could hang a direct billing integration off of that and sell on your own website through our app billing product. You could bring together third-party products and sell them through marketplaces, through our app distribution product. And we even offered a reseller management service so that you could sell through some small sets of resellers. And because of that, we've often talked about us being the best at third-party products, right? But we wanted to challenge ourselves and push ourselves further. We wanted to become the best at enabling third-party resellers as well. So today I'm happy to announce that we're launching a new product, a standalone product that we're calling App Reseller. And App Reseller is a product where we take the tools that we've used to build our ecosystem over the last 9 years and hand them over to you, our ecosystem. So you can use the same technology that we've been using to build this massive ecosystem you see around you, and build your own to enable your resellers. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So starting with the reseller onboarding experience. To enable a massive amount of third-party resellers, you need to be able to quickly onboard them. So using the same capabilities, the same technology that we use to add customers to the platform, you can now add resellers. And we've taken the technology and we've expanded it. So not only are we allowing you to create people who can access the checkout flow, but we're introducing a new type of company today called a referral company, so that you can hand off the capability to create demand or leads on the platform to its own class of company. So you don't have to just recruit resellers, you can start recruiting demand. So banks, retailers can all create leads for you and hand them off to the platform for you to direct to people with access to the checkout flow or resellers. You manage permissions, so you can control what resellers can do on the platform globally or on an individual company basis. Profiles, so you can create reseller profiles and allow them to generate their own demand. They can show off their skills, their certifications, what products they can service, what they can sell, right? Without you having to interact at all, as a benefit of being a member of the program. Reseller lead registration, so you can create leads on the platform automatically through the UI, through APIs, so you can plug it into their demand generation capabilities and not have to touch it at all. Reseller lead exchange, so you can take the capabilities of creating those leads and start handing them off, either your own internal sales teams or to that third-party reseller network. Reseller conversion, so we wanted to be sure that you could track that lead all the way through its entire life cycle, right? So lead gets generated by one party, handed off to another. You can track what happens with it, how much it's converted for, what the value of it is, and what is sold against that lead so that everyone can be paid against it. Price negotiation, so all of the pricing power, markup, markdown pricing, quote modifications, wholesale adjustments, everything that Jasper mentioned previously, all available through our app reseller product to your reseller networks. And starting now, we'll have support reseller reconciliation, collecting all of the charges, the adjustments, putting them into reports so you can automatically generate them for your reseller networks. But we are not stopping there. We're also releasing reseller payouts as well. So you'll be able to collect or pay out your resellers automatically through the platform. So that means you'll be able to close your books, reconcile, and collect or distribute payments all automatically without any overhead for people or accounting or any of that. You'll be able to run the platform or the program all the way through the platform. So that was just a quick preview. We're doing a longer session this afternoon. I'd invite anyone who's interested in the new app reseller product to join. But next, I'd like to invite on stage Michael, our VP of Product, to talk about the center of this platform, this digital supply chain. Thank you.
All right, well, thanks a lot, Nick. Hey, before I start my presentation, I just wanted to take a moment to give a quick shout out to the product managers that you saw up here on stage. I've personally never had the pleasure of working with a set of people, a team that's more dedicated and committed to creating innovative products that create value for their customers. So I just want to give them a quick round of applause. Thanks a lot, guys. Great job. Okay, so let's bring it all together and talk about how AppDirect can help you transform your digital supply chain. You know, it's pretty obvious to spot problems in a physical world with your supply chain. You end up with inventory piling up on the factory floor, sort of like you see Lucy and Ethel trying to keep up at the chocolate factory. Although I'm a big fan of chocolate, so if that actually happened, it might not be such a bad thing. But putting that aside, spotting problems in the digital world with your supply chain is not so obvious. So let's break that down and use the wheel of digital transformation that we've been using to understand how difficult launching a new product or service in the enterprise really is. I know that there's a lot of you in the audience that actually try to do that every day, and let's face it, it's really hard. I've had to do it. You know what I'm talking about. You've got to not only develop and design your new solution, but then you have to integrate it into the enterprise's systems. You've got to update your checkout flow. You've got to touch your billing system. You may need to update your identity and other underlying systems. This adds cost, complexity, and time to the task of launching a new product. Then, if you want to package that with third-party applications and services, the problem gets even bigger. You've got to evaluate these third parties. You've got to contract with them. Then you have to go through the task of actually integrating them into your systems. This is adding additional time and complexity and cost. Then when you've got all of that done, you've got to start preparing your channel. This means you've got to update your CRM systems and maybe your partner management system. That's if you have a partner management system and not just like a spreadsheet or two to optimize your channel. In this day and age, it's incredibly important to make sure that on day one, your new service is ready for mobile. That means you've got to touch your mobile applications. You've got to update your monetization system. This is all critically important, but then you also have to do all of that while maintaining that trusted service assurance relationship with your customers that Nicholas underscored being so important earlier in the presentation. This is a big task. Luckily, AppDirect has created a really powerful set of tools and capabilities across its platform to help you solve all those problems. It's an amazing set of tools that really help you transform your digital supply chain. And I'd like to just touch upon a few of the ones that we find are really exciting, at least they're exciting to me. Bundles. We absolutely love bundles. I know some of you are using them today. Hopefully you love them as much as we do. They're incredibly difficult to do, but when you get it right, and we perfected it over the last couple of years, you can really create value-added, differentiated solutions for your customers by combining your core service with those third-party applications. And this is going to increase your average sales price and customer stickiness. Then you add multi-tier pricing for your channel. Again, really difficult to do, but we've honed it over time. It's really powerful. It creates flexibility for you to select pricing and negotiate pricing with each of your channel partners, and then enable them with full quote and price negotiation capabilities per deal. This is going to increase sell-through and your margins. Okay, so you've integrated third parties with your core service. You've started distributing them through your channel. That's all great. Now, how do you become the digital hub for your customers? The Mobile Partner Program helps you do that. It creates an environment where you can provision and then lifecycle manage applications across devices. Then you tie that all together with a support relationship with your customers through premium technical support from AppHelp. These are real people who are trained on your products to create a lasting impression with your customers that'll be incredibly powerful in retaining and growing your business. Finally, the icing on the cake, insights into your data. You need that information if you're going to understand how your products are performing, and then quickly innovate and iterate those products to stay one step ahead of the competition. This is what our data visualization capabilities of App Insights allows you to do. Okay, so I just went through how AppDirect can help you transform your digital supply chain. And there's a lot more information that you're going to learn over the next couple of days. I encourage you to go to the breakout sessions for topics that are of interest to you. I also encourage you to go to the demos and kick the tires on these services that we're offering. I think you're going to find that our platform is extensible, flexible, and allows you to grow your business And it's going to be an exciting couple of days. So with that, a little more excitement, I'd like to welcome Nicholas back up on the stage. He's got a couple of other product announcements he'd like to make. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Mike. We are so excited about all these massive improvements to our platform, and we're incredibly excited to announce our next innovation. And we really believe, we've worked really hard at this and believe that this is really a step function improvement in the value that we can bring to all of you. We spent a lot of time looking at, as we mentioned earlier, the common denominators that underlie some of the great success stories. And these digital common denominators, as we started looking at them, we found that, it really comes back to digital transformation in those pillars. And in assessing those pillars, we found that the digital core is really the catalyst. It really sets in motion a flywheel of digital transformation. And we wanted to really explore and see how we can invest more in our platform to help you, not for some of you getting started, but many of you are just continuously developing on your digital core, and how we can help you in that digital core creation process. The digital core is really about creating digital services, charging for digital services, and integrating them into existing systems. But what underlies that are common technologies. Again, billing management, identity management, data and mobile management. And we had a lot of these technology pieces. So we wanted to see, and explore what are the core digital experiences that sit at the intersection of these technologies. And again, when we go look at some of the greatest digital transformation stories, or the companies that have won the most digital market share, again, there are common denominators in how they render these experiences at the intersection of these technologies. Whether it be Uber, Facebook, Airbnb, but again, I pressure test this, and you can add any logo there of any great digital success story, and you'll find that there are certain ingredients that are there, experiences, such as feeds, search, visualization, and social. So we're really excited to announce our cloud management suite, and we announced a vision for this 2 years ago, and we've worked relentlessly since then to bring this together. And what's so special about the cloud management suite is that it really is a platform available as a service. We're not another social company or feeds company or visualization company. We don't compete with those companies. We offer those experiences as a service for you to make them your own, for you to really invest in your digital core, and to render those experiences that make sense in your industry, and we'll give you some examples. So going forward, any developer that integrates to your dev center or AppDirect catalog network that can be made available to all of you, those developers have data APIs available to them so that they can push the data required to populate your feeds, your streams, search, or visualizations. We also have another feature available to developers from this moment on, where they can make their app available for import. So what that means is that if on your marketplace, for example, or through your commerce experience, you sell 3 services, but that 4th service, for some reason, your customers bought that elsewhere, maybe directly from that vendor, this allows them to import that 3rd service in and unify that experience, the identity management and the data management, the mobile management, through your brand. So let's go through that use case. Imagine if you wanted to buy an accounting solution. Or in this case now, you wanted to import an accounting solution. So again, if you're on your platform and a customer's there and they have already bought that elsewhere, they can now import that solution. And either way, whether you buy it or import it, you end up on the My Apps page. Now, what we've brought to you now is a universal top nav that brings together a lot of these experiences. Your springboard for your customer into their apps, into their digital life, is no longer only the My Apps page. You can make that the primary one, But now you have other options. You can make feeds, that home button, which is feeds, the primary one. Or your chat or streams, the primary one, which you can totally customize. Or visualization, and then there's also intelligent search. So going forward, with every marketplace that launches, you get visualizations for your end customers, and you'll see that whenever they buy an app on the marketplace or import it in, if you want to ensure that your customers have a unified experience across, again, all their apps, unify their identity management, their data management, and their billing management, if they bought that app or imported it, what you see on the right side is that under the My Apps, they can see that that connector is among the apps that they've bought, and now they can easily connect that. And if they bought an accounting tool, they can now see a dashboard that lets them know what's happening in real time from an accounting perspective, how their business is doing. This can work for any app on the marketplace, and again, what's so powerful is the fact that you're not constrained by the apps that we make available. Any developer that integrates can now push data to these faculties of cloud management. You also have feeds. So you can get notified, and I'm incredibly excited about these feeds. I haven't really seen anything like it in the market, and I think it's really, really exciting. We worked really hard at it. And it's the idea that it's your central nervous system for your business across all of your apps, and you can see what's happening across all of your apps. So for example, in this case, the example you see is that there's an opportunity that's been, for example, inputted in the CRM. So you can see the opportunity. You can see at what stage in the pipeline it's at. You can see if it's a large booking, and you can basically get all those details and effectively get a feed of what's happening in your business. And you can customize those feeds, make them your own. When you go create feed, you can create a feed by individual, so you can basically follow what they're doing within your organization, by apps, by many apps. If you're in the support organization, you can make a feed of uptime, of your support tickets, of your bug tracking, and you can get basically a real-time nervous system of what's happening from a support point of view within your organization. And you also have chat in case you can't find what you want through your feeds. But what's so important about this is that in our minds, chat is somewhat commoditized. The chat is kind of besides the point. The reason why we did this is because of streams. Streams is something that we brought together, which is a form of feed, but it's really anything that somebody does in relation to you shows up as a stream. So Nate over there, if I share a document with Nate, then that will show up as a chat from Nicholas, and it'll say, hey, Nick shared a doc with you, and you can download that doc right there, even if I share that document in a third-party app like, let's say, Box. That saves you a lot of time because it allows you to share documents and materials from all across all these apps. And personally, I use a lot of enterprise software, and it gets really hard logging into each one every time I need to get something. It's easier to get everything in a centralized way through either feeds or streams. You also have universal search. We now allow you to search through all these applications, and you can search by documents, by photos, videos, and you get to find any material across all of your apps and really unifying that experience. And why does this matter? All this matters because it drives engagement. When you sell recurring service, we all know that it's much more about retention than even acquiring a new customer. Retention matters a lot. And that's why we've invested so much in these experiences. But what's so powerful, and I'll show you some examples later, is you can totally make these your own. And they apply whatever industry you're in. These become very relevant in that digital transformation and creating that core digital experience. And everything is mobile. We have apps for each of these experiences. We have App Insights for the visualization, AppWise for search, and you can make these available to your customers. And finally, we have all the API documentation so that you can invite any developer that's integrating to you and to your marketplace for your needs to integrate to make that experience relevant for your end customers so that you can populate your marketplace with the right connectors that make sense, whether it be for feeds, for search, for streams, or for visualizations. So let's take two examples. Let's say that you're in financial services. Why does this matter to you? It matters because as a bank, You can now offer visualizations that allows your customer to know what's going on across all their apps, across all their financial systems, across their accounting tools or their payroll tools. You can now offer them feeds, push notifications to let them know that you have an account receivable that's overdue, for example. Let's look at communication services. If you're a telecom company, you can now create visualization that brings together the smart home in a really coherent way. All these IoT devices are really apps. And you can bring that data in and offer those connectors so that when you sell those devices, those customers can now enjoy and understand what's happening in their house in real time. Or feeds. If your child comes home late at night, you can have an automatic push notification that tells you 2 hours late, because Ring knows that. Great IoT product, by the way. So that's how we bring all that together. And again, we've worked really hard over the last 2 years to bring this together. What's interesting is that we took a different approach in that we made these available on a standalone basis first. So we actually have hundreds of businesses that are existing customers of these services that we have up here. Companies like Netflix, they use our search. Gates Foundation, they also use our search. Whole Foods uses our visualization. We have a lot of great companies and brands across the world that use these on a standalone basis. And we're so excited as we've worked really hard to make this available for all of you so you can totally customize it and make it your own. And that was the point from day one, that anyone could really create and bring together these digital experiences for their customers. So there's going to be demos of all this technology. And with that, I'd like to thank all of you. And we're so excited to spend a couple days with all of you. And I want to bring on Andy Sen, who's going to take a lot of what we spoke about, almost every feature, and show how we've worked with our customers over the last year to bring these to production. So with that, I'd like to bring on Andy Sen.
Thank you, Nicholas, and thank you all for being here today at Engage 2017. And I'd like to start by really talking about customers, all of our customers, the small business users who use the AppDirect platform to purchase cloud products and services. And we spend a lot of time thinking about these customers, about customer acquisition. We spend a lot of time and effort creating new features which enable this customer acquisition. And as Dan already mentioned, we've been very successful. We now have millions of small business users, paid users, on the platform. But there's a second way in which these customers get on board. A lot of you have existing customers that you've acquired on legacy systems or manual process with a lot of effort. So I'd like to start by talking about those customers who you have now migrated over to AppDirect. And I'd like to start by acknowledging and publicly appreciating your trust in the AppDirect platform, that it's the right platform to nurture and grow the customers that you've already acquired. And I'm happy to say that we have over 1 million small businesses migrated. These users have come from a various number of systems. They represent dozens of different products and hundreds of thousands of sustained orders. So they're on the AppDirect system, and they'll continue to grow there. So thank you very much. And when you think of migrating users, it's not just when you launch a new AppDirect marketplace that this happens. Some of our oldest customers see continued value and move new services over to the platform. Comcast, who's been working with us for many years now, has moved tens of thousands of users who were on their hosted exchange to Office 365 running on the Upware marketplace. And one of the reasons you'd want to migrate users to AppDirect, as well as use AppDirect, is the way we allow you to differentiate your solution. It's our ability to present a unique, customized product to your customers while retaining all the benefits of being part of a SaaS ecosystem. The most simple example would be the look and feel. You all want a different look and feel. You all want a different user experience. So we introduced the theme customizer feature, which gives that control over to you. It lets you manage how you want users to visualize the marketplace. However, it doesn't prevent you in any way from getting the benefits of the new features that we introduce. When we introduce a feature, it's available to all the marketplace, regardless of the customizations that you've offered. And this ability on the front end is just one of the ways that AppDirect is different. As Nicholas already said, the AppDirect platform gives you a way to digitize production and distribution and consumption, but it's the little area on top, the uniqueness of your business requirements, which is needed and which benefits from the flexibility of the platform. So I talked about the theme customizer, and not only are all our new channels using it, 90% of all customers have taken the effort to move to the new theme customizer platform and get the benefits therein. And it's not just the front end as well. Part of customizing, part of being able to meet your business requirements is the ability to integrate. Jasper came up here and talked about our APIs, our webhooks, our new documentation center, which allows you to take the AppDirect platform and integrate it to your back-end systems. But there's also flexibility around the business rules within the platform. We have seen examples of channels who have a lot of companies merging, and you need to reflect that on the AppDirect. We see examples where customers maybe discontinue your core services, and that needs to be reflected on the platform by having multiple orders be able to be unassign them and then be able to deprovision them. To enable this, we've used the power of the ecosystem. We've used Netflix's open source conductor technology to build in a workflow system which allows us to reflect these unique business requirements for each channel. Now, I'd like to address some of the major themes that Nicholas and the product team talked about, giving examples of how our existing customers are already using the platform for digital transformation. Now, the great thing about Engage is, after I speak, there'll be multiple workshops and breakout sessions to really dive into the details of all of this. But also the customers I talk about, they're here in this room. It's easy enough to simply have a conversation about their experiences, what went well, and what they'd recommend. And I'd like to start by TELUS and how AppDirect has been working in their digital core for many years. We started at TELUS by building a self-service portal for their consumers so that they can go online and see details of their accounts and make changes. It's available on the web and as well as on mobile. And to give this experience, we had to go deep into the core. I think at this point, we integrate with 7 different major backend systems at TELUS, everything from billing to provisioning to network management. And this unified experience has proven to be so valuable that the solution of the self-service portal has gone from their consumer segment to the small medium business segment, and now we've launched a marketplace so we can enable e-commerce as well. And once you have e-commerce, that's when the power of all the AppDirect features around the digital core that Jasper talked about come into place. Here's an example of add-ons that we launched this year, and it's already in use. Now, the interesting thing here is we launched the feature, but when it's launched, it's available immediately across all of AppDirect, and it's available in all the different configurations we support, language and currency being one of them. So here you see add-ons in Swedish krona. But for all the features we build, a marketplace is no good without great products. And that's all about the AppDirect ecosystem that we have and about the ecosystem that we allow you to build for yourself. As Nicholas mentioned, AppDirect has always been an open platform. That's something that's distinguished us from other players from the very beginning. We have never charged any developer to come into the platform and to list their products. Our APIs have always been open. New products that we launch, like the cloud management, are open from the get-go. The data APIs that Nicholas showed are available for developers everywhere. When we do new features like single sign-on for mobile, we try to use open standards like app config on the iOS devices. And the benefit of this ecosystem and the openness is shown right here. Again, Jasper talked about the new company sync features that we introduced. It was introduced in February. And what that really did was allow customers to bring in more of their subscriptions that they purchased somewhere else into AppDirect. Once they're there, they saw the benefits of the ecosystem. They saw other products that are available. They saw the ease of adding products and user management. And then they immediately started purchasing additional products and seats. Right there, causing net new revenue right at the bottom line. And a great ecosystem is not just for web-based products. I'm going to talk quickly about TomTom and how we built a digital ecosystem for them for their bridge devices. These are hardened devices actually it's a family of devices used by first responders, used by trucks, used by waste management fleets, runs on Android, and we built an ecosystem and a store around it where developers can upload their APKs and be present for the different devices. Now, we manage the devices themselves. As I mentioned, there are multiple different devices and there are different use cases for all of them. And this lets you use a wide variety of apps, anything from something like, say, streaming music to very specialized applications, applications which notify truckers when they're driving on what gears to use, depending on the terrain and the map that they're going over. It lets them really measure and control the fuel economy, which is, if you've got a fleet of trucks, again, has direct benefits to the bottom line. We've always had the self-service marketplace. That's what AppDirect started with. We've always believed that software is sold, not bought. That's why we built so many features around assisted sales. People use us for the sales, internal sales, for managing their vendors. Nick Gilbert came on and talked about our app reseller module, which takes us to the next level. But there's another channel I want to quickly talk about, which also customers are using. And that's the retail channel, working with point-of-sale devices in stores. There's two different ways in point-of-sale devices can be hooked up to the cloud, to the AppDirect platform, so that right from the store, you can purchase cloud products. We have the capability to build the full-fledged checkout experience right on the devices themselves, or we have APIs that we expose, public APIs that these point-of-sale terminals can hook into and purchase and complete transactions of cloud products right in the stores themselves to really power the retail channel. Now, besides enabling transactions, we talk a lot about being the digital hub for your consumers. And to be the digital hub, you need to be where your consumers are. And where they are today, of course, is mobile. Nicholas talked about the different native mobile apps we released this year. And here's an example of Cincinnati Bell using one of them. It's our mobile My Apps product. It lets customers who have bought business applications on the web use them, view them, right on their mobile devices. So they can interact with them not just on the web, but from their phones, from the screens there. But it's not, when I talk about devices and building an ecosystem, it's not just phones. Here you see small screens. Sahara has used very large screens to build a digital hub and an ecosystem in the classroom. So these are large devices, again, different types of devices, but you can think of them as large screen TVs all running Android. They're in the classroom where they can essentially function as the hub. Teachers can use them for just whiteboarding and using them as a plain board, but of course, you can also load them up and have many educational applications on them, from reading, writing, simple arithmetic, etc. Now, this is really valuable. It shows the capabilities that we provide, both around commerce, both around being a digital locker. But it also goes to the next example, which shows the versatility of both the AppDirect platform and, frankly, the Sahara device itself. That the same device, which is the digital hub in the classroom, can be used to be the digital hub in the boardroom as we pursue a new vertical. On these same large screens, we can have communication software running. We are working with our partners, Google and Microsoft, to introduce native versions of the Office productivity suites for these devices themselves. Now, Michael talked about the digital supply chain. Now, to really simplify it, it's all about getting digital products into the hands of the customers quickly. And a key way we do that is through our on-device sales automation module, which we'll be talking about quite a bit during Engage. Bluegrass Cellular is using this. They are letting their small businesses purchase hardware, iPads, along with business applications. Once these devices are bought and given to the hands of the small business consumers, to the employees there, they open it up, and the first thing that happens is the applications that have been purchased for them get downloaded automatically. They get downloaded, and using the app config open system, it's downloaded with the identity of the user built in. So when they click on the app, they're ready to go. But the digital supply chain doesn't stop there. When you're selling apps to businesses, they will have questions. And there, this solution is built in and integrates well with our app help offering. If they have any questions, if they need new apps, if they want to buy more, they can get help right away. The last exciting announcement that Nicholas did was around our cloud management. There was a lot of things there around feeds and insights. And to get to all those feeds and insights, the basics of all of them is data. You need big data. And AppDirect now has the capability to collect, process, personalize, and intelligently recommend large amounts of data from the cloud. And I'll give you a use case. And the use case is really Jaguar Land Rover, which I talked about at last Engage in the context of being able to manage the applications that run on their dashboards. We have 2 cars back there, which you can go and see yourselves. And AppDirect really manages the life cycle of the apps. There's news apps, there's weather apps, there's musics on the dashboard itself. But thinking a little bit beyond what we have done for the application lifecycle management is the data. These cars are sold all over the world. Depending on where in the world you are, you have different entities providing you the data for music and news and weather. We have a large data storage system that we built, which pulls in this data from all the different providers. We normalize the data, we personalize the data, and then using our App Insights module, we use that to drive notifications, pertinent notifications, both to the driver as well as to the customer service rep. For example, the drivers can get a notification saying that they're a convertible. We know that. And their top is down. Based on the weather forecast, we can say, hey, this might be a good time to pull over and pull the top on your car on. On the flip side, if there's some issues with the car, or maybe even proactively, they bring in the car for maintenance, the customer service reps at Jaguar Land Rover can look up, based on the VIN number of the car, data is coming right from that car over the cloud from their head units to help the customer out. And this idea of just pulling in data from different sources and putting them in the cloud, I think is a really good metaphor for this Engage conference right here. We're not pulling in data, but we are gathering, all of us, from all across the world. And we are bringing our experiences here, our knowledge, and using that to drive insights which are going to be great and valuable for all of us going forward. Thank you. And now to wrap it up, I'd like to welcome Daniel.
Thanks, everyone. So we've had an exciting morning of announcements, and all of these announcements are designed to help you succeed in delivering the tools and technology for the future. As we look ahead, we recognize that the future won't be just about selling your own product or one service. It's going to be about selling solutions. Solutions that are bundled across a variety of different partners of yours. So the ecosystem is what's critical to unlock that value. Remember, that ecosystem is sitting in this room. I challenge you over the next few days to engage with everyone here to see how you can develop and work together. Now, one of the things that I'm most proud about on how this ecosystem has evolved is how each of you have become change agents within your company to transform the way businesses work. Now, what does it mean to be a change agent? Well, it's someone who can take an idea of the future back to your company and drive transformational change. In order to achieve that, you need to have a clarity of vision of what solutions you'd like to sell and what channels you want to sell them through. As you've seen here, we now help you to sell all types of digital solutions, not just SaaS, but a wide range of cloud and digital services. And we've now enabled you to activate any type of channel. So what I'd like you to take back to your company is how to think about aggregating all the products and services that you have in your portfolio, thinking about how you can complement that with those products and services of others, and enabling those to become solutions sold in an omni-channel way. And what I want to leave you with, again, is that the people in this room have the potential to accelerate the future of digital technologies. And in doing so, we will shape the future. And I'm going to leave you with a nice little video, and I want to thank you all. Thank you.
AppDirect is the ecosystem, and the ecosystem is AppDirect, so you almost can't differentiate them. There would be no AppDirect without our ecosystem.
I think what's crazy about the AppDirect platform is oftentimes it's our customers leading us.
The roadmap that we're about to unveil today and the new product launches have all been because of the efforts and energy of so many customers and stakeholders in this room and around the world.
Our customers help us to create a better product.
They look to see metrics and stats on how they can drive more traffic, how they can drive more visitors, how they can drive more purchases.
They've really challenged us to think, how do we build a business for the long term?
I want to personally thank AT&T for challenging me as a support engineer to think outside the box, to think of ways that I can help improve their business and help improve our business.
Wacom or AT&T, both of them just have such varied, vast product lines. They're so international, and trying to kind of suit their needs is really pushing the product in a whole bunch of interesting but challenging new directions.
The customers that I'm excited to see at Engage, we have Rogers, Telstra, PCM, Cancom, Dustin, Bluegrass, my absolute favorite, ADP, IBM.
Comcast, Deutsche Telekom, Cancom, DocuSign, and a variety of others who are back for the 5th year in a row.
TELUS, Cincinnati Bell, and Lasse.
Megan Mack, Jackson King at Google.
Tigo, SoftBank, Wacom.
Vodafone.
James Mama from Comcast.
Elisa.
And Al Akamendi at Talic.
Come find me at Engage, and I hope to really meet you and talk to you in person.
Jim Kreitler and Jürgen Tolksdorf from the Genesis team. There was a lot that you guys taught us.
Intuit, I hope you're out there and looking forward to seeing you.
Matt, Kalu, come find me after this.
Thank you for being here. I know a lot of you have come from far, and I'm really excited to spend the next couple of days with all of you.
We're going to have an incredible week, and I'm so excited to engage with you.
Thank you.